Hello, everyone, and welcome to the last day of Lupus Awareness Month. My name is Erin Justice,
And I'm Elena Crossway.
and today we will just be sharing some facts about lupus as well as our stories on how we got diagnosed with lupus, and just to give you guys some insight on how lupus has impacted our lives on a daily basis. So, I'm going to go first and let you guys know how I was diagnosed with lupus. So I recall two very significant events in my life on how I came to get diagnosed with lupus. So when I was 17 years old, I got really sick. And I remember having bright red skin. I had a fever that was like 104. I could barely walk. I couldn't even move without feeling extreme pain. And I went to the doctor. My mom took me to the pediatrician, and they didn't know what was wrong with me. After 100 tests, they still had no idea, and the best guess that my pediatrician could give me was maybe you have valley fever. He also diagnosed me with Epstein's Barr, and then just told me that I needed a lot of rest, and I was actually out of school for about 3 months. This was my senior year in high school, so that was a huge ordeal. I ended up having to go back in January and completing my last semester of high school and my first semester of high school, my senior year at the same time. That was very difficult. So for about 9 years, I just thought that I had valley fever. And being that I was always really kind of a sickly child, I just kind of brushed it off. I have valley fever, kind of have to take it easy. It kind of explained my fatigue, but that was about it. Then when I don't even know how old I was. It was probably about 2010 in December. I was having a lot of trouble breathing when I was just at rest. I would be sitting down just like I'm sitting here, not talking, not doing anything at all, and I couldn't breathe, and I would gasp for air. So I went to the doctor, and it was actually like urgent care, and the doctor put the little thing on my finger and just said, your oxygen is at 98%, you're fine. And it was really funny because my cousin was with me, and I made a joke of it at the time, and I was like, I need my 2% back then because I can't breathe. That happened and nothing came from it. Fast forward 6 months later, and all the hair in my right eyebrow completely just disappeared. And I knew for a fact that something was wrong then because I have thick eyebrows. So I again went back to the doctor, this time a different doctor because I had different insurance. And again, I was dismissed. She completely just, you were just out of shape. That's why you're out of breath. That's it. There's nothing I can tell you. You don't have any other symptoms. But me knowing my body, I knew something was wrong. And so I decided to put my foot down that day. And I was just like, I'm not leaving until I have some answers. So that doctor ran a bunch of breathing tests. She did x-rays. She did everything under the sun. And everything came back above normal. Everything was great. And I said, well, there's something wrong with me, and so I need you to run a blood test. So she did, reluctantly, and I left with, having a blood test done and waiting for the results. The very next day, my doctor's office called, and they told me I needed to come in immediately. I came in, the doctor apologized and said, I'm really, really sorry. She was like, but we did an anti-nuclear antibody panel, and that's more commonly known as an ANA test, and she said it came back positive. Well, not knowing what that was, she just told me that it helps diagnose autoimmune disorders. Now, it doesn't tell you which one you have, but it lets you know that it's possible that you do have one. So she wrote me a referral for a rheumatologist, and I went to go see him in October of 2011. That doctor, who is still my doctor today, took one look at me and said, I know exactly what you have, but I can't tell you that yet. So we talked for a few minutes, and then before I left there, I had done a lupus panel. So he did blood tests, and then 6 weeks later, December 6th of 2011, I was diagnosed with lupus. Now, for myself, the way it has impacted my life, I had to quit my job at the time because I needed something that wasn't so physically stressful. That was sad because I had been there for 7 years. I had to really take a look at how I was living my life, and I had to slow it down. I couldn't do the things that I once had done before. I really had to limit myself. I still do have to limit myself, which can be very difficult when you're used to just living the way that you normally live. And I think for myself, lupus has also really just made me realize that life is too short, but you also have to know your boundaries. You can't do everything that everyone is doing all the time. You have to pace yourself. You have to kind of be mindful of how much you're pushing yourself. So that is my story on how I got diagnosed. Everyone's different, so I know it takes a long time to get diagnosed for some people. For others, they know what's going on right away. So for me, it took about a year of going through specific symptoms, and then probably over the course of 10 years to get an actual diagnosis of the right thing. So I'm going to switch it on over to Elena, and she will tell you how she got diagnosed.
Okay, so right now I am 19. I have had a diagnosis for about a year, just a little over a year, March of 2016, and now it's May 2017. I have had symptoms that I can remember since I was 12 years old. I got really sick for a while. We thought I had swine flu, or we didn't really know what was wrong with me. And so I just stayed home for a couple of weeks, and then after that I never got better. So my mom, hey, there's something wrong with our daughter, and she just kind of, she took me to my pediatrician, and we did blood work and everything like that, and the only thing that he really saw was that I had a positive ANA test, and he said, you've had mono sometime in the past 6 months. That's really all I can tell you. And so we did, over the course of the next year and a half or so, we did more blood tests and x-rays and just a lot of stuff, a lot of different tests, and nothing came of it. So finally he was, I can't really do anything from here, there's something wrong. So he sent me to a pediatric rheumatologist at a children's hospital. I was sent there. I had my appointment, went with the doctor, we did some blood work, and he pretty much dismissed everything and said that I was growing up, I was a teenager, just, entering my teens, and we have hormone problems and boy problems and stuff like that, and he pretty much said that I was making everything up. And so I left that appointment really discouraged, and for a while, kind of stopped pushing to go to the doctor until I got really sick again. And so for a long time, my mom was really my only support. Hey, there is something wrong with her. And my dad didn't, he didn't know what was going on. And he used to tell me, hey, you need to stop. You need to stop making yourself sick. Until one day I came home and, I had the mylar rash right here on my face. I was super red, my joints were swollen and red, and I had sun rashes, and, there was just a lot of stuff, and he finally, whoa, there is something wrong. But I still had the doctor dismissing all my issues. So, I kind of stopped pushing to go to the doctor unless it was absolutely necessary, and I couldn't do anything. But at school and stuff, I had a really great support group at school. So I didn't miss school too often. because they would let me go and lay down if I started feeling bad in class and stuff, which actually helped a lot. And so I had a great support group there, and then at home, my parents were, they were pushing for me to do something. They were, trying to get me better. And last year, when I met Erin last year through my dad. She's one of my dad's coworkers. And she said, well, you're sick. I have a great doctor. You should go to him. So I ended up setting an appointment, and within 2-3 months, I had a diagnosis of lupus. And he said, I don't know, you've had these symptoms for 5-6 years already, and there's obviously something wrong with you, and the other doctor should not have told you there was nothing wrong with you, because there is. You have swelling, you have joint problems, you have all this. And so he diagnosed me with lupus. And so, being 19, I want to be young. I overdo it a lot of the time, which does make me sicker. As I'm getting older, I'm learning more what I can and can't do, and I'm kind of working with that. I just finished my 2U degree. It took me a little bit, but I did it. I'm trying to get a job, and we'll see, just how lupus affects me as I get older. Hopefully it's okay. Growing up, I wanted to join the military, and, I wanted to be a doctor, but, having a diagnosis, you can't do that. So, we'll see where I go.
All right. Well, those are our stories. And now I think what we'll do is just kind of run through some quick facts about lupus. There are a ton, so we will kind of keep it short and sweet. Mm-hmm. So Elena's going to do your first fact.
So the basics. Lupus is an autoimmune disorder where the immune system attacks its own tissues. It causes inflammation and other damage to the body. It can attack any organ in your body, and so that's when it's systemic lupus. It makes it very hard to diagnose because it tends to mimic the symptoms of other diseases. So, you have this one issue, and, they kind of go and, oh, you have this, when in reality it is lupus.
And so speaking of the systemic lupus, there are several different types of lupus. Systemic lupus, erythematosus, very hard to say. SLE for short, that is the most common type of lupus. I have SLE. I believe you also have SLE. That's what you're going to see mostly. People like ourselves and celebrities like Selena Gomez, she also has the systemic lupus. Then you have discoid lupus, and that is the lupus that attacks your skin. And if you know the singer Seal, he has discoid lupus. You have lupus nephritis that is actually caused by SLE, and Nick Cannon has that, and that one actually attacks your kidneys. And then you have drug-induced lupus, which people can get from taking certain medications. I know several people who have gotten lupus after having a cancer diagnosis and then being on chemo treatment, and then they end up with lupus. There are definitely other kinds of lupus diagnoses, but those are your core types of lupus.
So, you see someone that has obvious physical symptoms or anything like that, rashes or anything. Lupus is not contagious. It's not. We may, I get sun rashes and I get the mylar rash, and sometimes it looks pretty bad, but it's not contagious. It's in your blood. Even, transferring blood, you're not going to get it.
You can't get it from us, don't worry.
You're okay.
You are okay. And also with that is no two cases of lupus are the same. So I may have some of her symptoms and she may have some of mine, but we are definitely not alike in our diagnosis. We do not have the same symptoms. We are not going to have the same troubles from day to day. I do get the sun rashes, but I don't have the
and insomnia.
Yeah.
Oh
insomnia
gosh.
is terrible. There's different things that are going to affect us differently. So no two cases are the same. Everybody is different, and that really goes along with the mimicking of other, diseases. Because that happens, you just really never know, and that's why it makes it so hard to diagnose it.
So the most common symptoms of lupus, which I deal with greatly, are extreme fatigue and joint pain. So, I was always tired. It's not so bad anymore. Sometimes it is though, but always tired, always sleeping. And why is that girl sleeping so much? Why is she asleep again? Our family would go over to a friend's house, a family friend's house, and the first thing I'd go lay on the bed and I'd knock out. And why is that girl always asleep when she's over here? Oh, we don't know. But yes, extreme fatigue and joint pain. Mm-hmm.
Yes, it can be very awful. Definitely so. With the diagnosis of lupus, they try to put you on certain types of medicine. Corticosteroids are like the main type, and then you're going to be given anti-inflammatory medication. So everybody can be on something different. I started on Plaquenil, and Plaquenil did not like my body at all. My body didn't like it. I was allergic to it. I was on it for about 3 months, and I broke out in terrible rash. And then that led me to the wonderful, not so wonderful, steroid. And that steroid, I don't even say its name because I hate it so very much. But no, it's prednisone. Prednisone works very, very well. However, the side effects and the symptoms to that steroid are awful. It did help me get over the allergic reaction to Plaquenil, and then from there I actually moved on to Imuran, and that is still what I'm on today. So I've been on that for 6 years now because Plaquenil didn't work for me. But everybody is different again. So you are on Plaquenil now, but you started off on something different, right?
So I've been on Plaquenil for almost a year. I think in July it'll be a year. But when I first got my diagnosis in March of 2016, the rheumatologist put me on sulfasalazine, which did wonders. I felt amazing for 2 or 3 months. It helped all my joints, it helped my inflammation, it helped my stomach problems because I also have stomach problems. So it helped with all that, but 2-3 months on it, I also, I broke out in severe rashes. I couldn't breathe. So I went to an urgent care. They gave me a steroid shot and told me to take allergy medicine from Walgreens. And so, 2 days later, I was getting worse. I couldn't breathe at all, really. So I went to the ER. I got admitted for about 2 days. And after that, I got off of sulfasalazine, which kind of sucked. And then, I was put on Plaquenil, which, as of right now, I haven't seen too many results with it. So I might end up changing it. But, I'm not allergic to it. And it has helped a little. And I'm also on migraine medication, which those can have some pretty bad side effects too. But, it's just a lot of stuff to manage a lot of symptoms, and, we have to stay healthy, eat right, work out. Okay.
So I think the biggest, end moment of it all is it's not the end of the world. It's hard stuff to deal with. It is definitely not an easy disease to have, especially because it's invisible. But I think just an encouraging word for me is if you have lupus or feel like you have lupus or any autoimmune disorder, don't stop until you get a diagnosis, for one. And then don't give up in feeling like you're alone, for one. There are support groups everywhere. I'm on an online support group with Facebook, and it's called Lupus Warriors, and it's amazing. I get a lot of support from there. My family, number one supporters. My friends are amazing. Even my coworkers. Surround yourself with people who understand. Even if they don't understand, surround yourself with people who will help you get through it, because you can. So that's just my encouraging word.
So for me, it's, don't stop stop what you're doing if it's unhealthy. But if, chase your dreams. I love music. I play music. But, sometimes it's hard to play. So, I just work through that, and I still pick it up, when I can. I'm still trying to get through school. I want to get a good job. So just don't stop. Don't make lupus end your life, because, no matter what age you are, it's not a death sentence. So just continue to live your life and, stay strong. The end of Lupus Awareness Month, please continue to share. It's not, the best recording, but share it. May isn't the end of lupus awareness, period. We want people to, be more aware of this and other, autoimmune diseases. You can't always see it. And sometimes people have it and, they feel bad.
So we just want you to like the video, share the video, and spread the word, okay? Thank you.
Guys.